Hey, MadBad. Just wanted to kind of get involved here. You kind of struck a couple chords with me. I'm just sitting here doing a little maintenance myself. I took a friend of mine out and gave a shooting lesson to him. He'd never held a firearm before, and had him shooting, relatively reliably with good safety the other day, and it was quite gratifying to me. He'd been bugging me for a while to do it, and at the end of the day, we managed to get it done. We got him safe and shooting on the paper, making some pretty good shots, in fact. And the gun of choice, well, that's part of it. The XDM. But listen, you struck me with something. I've been a strong advocate of Sarah Palin ever since the '08 election campaign, where she pretty much got John McCain 2/3 of his votes. I mean, let's face it, the man was speaking to crowds of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and all of a sudden she joins the campaign, knocks it out of the park in Minneapolis at the convention. Makes so much sense to grassroots conservatives like myself that he's suddenly speaking before 20 and 30,000 people. For anybody that missed it, I mean, maybe you should go back and take a look at what exactly Sarah Palin did for John McCain. Because, I think there was a poll taken whereby people were asked, well, do you think that the ticket should have been reversed? And as it turns out, yeah, a lot of people actually thought, yeah, if you'd have reversed the ticket, I think you'd have done a lot better. Which I find quite amusing. John McCain fancies himself the people's champion here, like The Rock. He is clearly an American hero, but not exactly a great choice if you're talking about liberal versus conservative. You're talking mainly about moderate versus way liberal, way lefty. And the lefty won because there was no clear alternative. It cracks me up that you made the same point that I made in one of my earlier videos, that the liberal establishment is scared to death of Sarah Palin. They'll not stop beating her until, we're talking about probably deep into the campaign cycle of 12, unless something crazy happens. And with them, you never really can tell. I mean, good Lord. If they had anything good on her, they would have sprung it by now, because they're in a hurry to crush her if they can, because she is a viable threat. And with Barack Obama tanking like he is, and just being completely inept, in every capacity, in all these disasters that we're seeing right now, you can tell what our generals think of him. A typical, liberal windbag, elitist. Let's talk about socialism in school, and then try to put it into practice and watch the economy tank, because that's not what we do here. They do want oil to tank. They've got these dreams of hydrogen cars and green renewable energies. By my parents, they have a big wind farm, and the thing is, it's really, I don't think it's all it's cracked up to be. High maintenance, not that efficient. Like everywhere else they're tried, they're not that great. They're definitely not the answer. And things like nuclear and other fossil fuels like coal, that's still the answer. When these greenies come up with something good, the market will tell us to buy it. We won't argue. I think that they think of us as a bunch of knuckle draggers, like we wouldn't go along with it if something was just as good, like when whale oil got supplanted by kerosene. Of course we did it. It made sense. And when their efforts pay off, and eventually that they have something that is going to work as well as fossil fuels and nuclear, and is a renewable, clean source, of course we're on board. Of course we are. We're free market capitalists. Of course we want something just as good, and in some ways better. When it becomes cheaper, or as cheap as some of the other forms of energy, we're going to be right on board, aren't we? I mean, I don't even think I need to ask you this, but I think you're right with me. If you can make plant power, peat moss, power your dirt bike, your gas-powered engine of your truck or whatever, and see to your needs with a more clean, renewable source of cheap energy, well, you're going to go for it. Of course you are. That's it's a non-question. We made these changes from whale oil to kerosene because it made sense. It was cheaper. It did the same thing. The whales got to live for all the people that love the whales and stuff, and who doesn't? Cool. It was a big winner. We found other, things that we could use, whale oil for, and products from whales, and that still kind of sticks in their craw, I'm sure, but we let the market do the talking. You got something good, show us what it does, and the market will speak. We'll either buy it or we won't. It just kind of cracks me up. They have such a low opinion of Sarah Palin. She was actually a regulator for the oil industry up in Alaska, and she did quite a remarkable job. If you haven't read her autobiography, I suggest that you do. She is a fantastic human being, and I'm a big fan of hers. I never heard of her until the '08 election campaign, and the more I hear of this woman, the more it makes perfect sense that she would be a threat and a viable alternative to, the regime that we have in place now. You don't have to be Harvard educated. That seems to be a detriment. The people that come from Harvard and Yale seem to be progressive leaning, anti-American, and I wasn't much of a Bush fan after the beginning of the second term because he seemed unwilling to do big things to come back to our roots. He wanted to expand Medicare, Medicare Part D. I think he would have been better off doing something to try to reform Social Security, but I guess that wasn't meant to be. I just got done reading Karl Rove's book as well. Another one I suggest if you're into the book reading, or as I do, listening club. Basically, I don't have a lot of time to read. I'm constantly busy with my work and other things, and don't have a lot of time to crack a book and just start reading, so I listen to the audiobooks. Just gave a close friend of mine my Liberty and Tyranny from Mark Levin, my Sarah Palin, and my Karl Rove, and one of my Beck books. All a great listen, great read. But I think you're so on the money. It would just, I feel like I needed to jump on here and say that, boy, man, I'm with you all the way. And if you haven't watched any of my videos, go ahead and check out the one on Sarah Palin. You'll see that the comments on there are the most, absolutely people going off the top and off the edge, trying to, in both directions. The people that are against her are just hateful. You can't even believe how these lefties just hate this woman for her basic, love of America. It's unfortunate, but we know about these people. We know about them, don't we? These people hate the fact that we have the Second Amendment to protect ourselves from intrusive government, should it come to that. They hate the fact that we have the First Amendment that allows both sides to be spoken, even if one is not exactly beloved by the popular press. And, they just seem to have a lot of hate for people like Sarah Palin, who are small government advocates, and people who are advocates for the Second Amendment and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Unfortunately, that just seems to be where that's at. We know better, and the Tea Party, it's still rolling. It's unbelievable, and I'm so proud of my countrymen, that have joined with me and other people like me to stand up for our Constitution and our constitutional way of life, a life that says that this is a land where laws rule and not men. And, I'm starting to get the vibe that you're right on board with me. As far as your competition, I'd like to say this firearm, the Springfield XDM, this is no magazine in this, just got done doing a little scrubbing on it. This gun right here is fantastic. If you've not shot one of these, you should get on board, get on the stick, and go try one out. They just came out with some new models with some new dimensions, new specs. This is the classic 4.5 inch barrel, 19 round magazine capacity, and comes with a great array of different accoutrements. You got a couple of magazines in the kit. This has got things going on with it. You get this lock, you get a couple magazines, you get some grip modifications in case your hand isn't quite right on the grip that comes with